this week I'm dealing with Mark being off. He's off on vacation until next week, so Chad's the guy today. That's why I'm here. He told me yesterday, oh, we need you to go. Not breaking news if they tell you a day in advance that they're having a press conference. But apparently Metro, well, right, but I mean, they've had plenty of other reporters on Metro who they could, but they won't do that. So. Oh yeah, no, I understand. And so that's, so, and then he's asking me all this other stuff, and I'm like, well, I don't understand. I mean, I didn't say anything to him, like, Kara is supposed to be following this stuff, not me. Of course he is.
What do you say?
I told her.
Well, that's easy.
You've been upsetting the chief?
I mean,
Upsetting the chief?
that's the whole point of it. People sign in.
But talking about
Because he wants to show the company.
Yeah, me too.
And it doesn't matter because,
You go fired up.
but it didn't matter. I mean, it's pointless. Home Daily uses the building every day. And then they still got rid of it. So it's just an expense. It's an expense that the company doesn't want to pay if they don't have to.
How are you?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with it. Just what I have a problem with is you making me come in and sign. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that was me. Yeah, that's exactly it. It's just an image thing. Yeah. Or give the ones that you have ratings.
Not with me.
There's your next book.
check, 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 check.
You should see Randy Wendell.
Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2. Check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
That's why I see John.
Mic check, mic check, mic check.
All right, give him a mic check, Randy.
Mic check 1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Okay, good.
Mic check. All right.
All right, thanks, bye. I like the ones that are bigger and taller.
What?
I'm not in your way, am I? Am I going to be in your way?
No.
You can see that monitor, right? The TV?
Yeah,
Through me.
yeah.
You can shoot over me. All right, thanks, Tom. Just wanted to make sure. Let me know.
Yeah. It's interesting. He raises the minimum. Go ahead. Put that where you need it. Okay.
Has everybody here signed the QR code? All good there. All right, good morning. Thank you all for coming. Just a preliminary matter real quick. Speaking today will be myself, Lieutenant John Gajewski, Public Information Officer. Most of you have my information. Also speaking today will be Deputy Commissioner Charles Rushton. Commissioner Hawkins is out of town today on pre-approved mandatory training with the state of Michigan. However, he's been fully briefed on every step of the way and is supportive of the press conference. We felt that given the narratives being circulated in the media that are so grossly incorrect, that it was of the essence to get this press conference done today. So with that, we'll get started. I'm going to read some details. We're going to play a video presentation. I'll have some conclusionary comments, and then we'll be taking a brief amount of questions. You'll hear me say it in my comments, but we will not be answering any questions about the shooting portion of this incident, as that's obviously under an open and active investigation with the Detroit Police Department and Michigan State Police. Some basic facts before we get started. This incident occurred on Tuesday, July 8th, 2025. Officers were dispatched to a residence in the 13,000 block of Prospect in the city of Warren at approximately 2:53 a.m. The pursuit connected to this incident started at approximately 3:08 a.m. The ending point of this incident was near the intersection of Castle and Monteleu in the city of Detroit. The general circumstances, which will be elaborated on more in the presentation, was a 911 call from a female regarding a domestic violence and arson incident. The deceased we can confirm and positively identify as 32-year-old Rakeem Marquise Wright of Detroit. The reason we are here today is to inform the public about facts surrounding Tuesday's officer-involved shooting incident. More specifically, we are here to directly address the numerous falsehoods being circulated by the media and others in the community regarding several key aspects of this incident. We understand and respect that everybody's voice deserves to be heard. However, we must not let rushes to judgment distort facts and reality. While social media and neighborhood commentary move at lightning speed and often include inflammatory buzzwords, full investigations of an incident of this magnitude require careful time, attention, and detail relative to the objective facts and evidence. The Warren Police Department would much prefer to complete a full investigation and transparently share the details when they are finalized. However, in this particular case, the falsehoods being circulated are so egregious that we feel compelled to respond with documented facts, even though this investigation, as I said earlier, is still very much open and active. We, of course, recognize and acknowledge that this incident is a very serious and emotional incident for the domestic violence victim, the involved families, the police officers whose lives were in very real danger that morning, the citizens who live in the area of the incident, and the community as a whole. Our goal for today is to set the record straight and highlight how truly serious and dangerous this incident was for the victim, her children, and the Warren police officers who responded to an urgent 911 call for help. We will now play a video presentation including body camera, dash camera, and other evidence from this incident. You will see for yourself in watching just how false some of the initial conclusions actually were. At the conclusion of the video presentation, we will answer a brief and limited number of questions. As I stated earlier, we will not be answering any questions about the shooting itself, as this part of the incident is under an open and active investigation by the Detroit Police Department and Michigan State Police. We will now play the video, and yes, the video will be sent out at the conclusion of the conference.
Hey, what's going on? My boyfriend told me, my house on fire. He said my house on fire. What's your address? He said my house. What's your address? What is your address? Okay. He said my whole house on fire. What's your address again? Why are you doing? 260 David 51. She had for 1016 Prospect. Got a female saying that her boyfriend is trying to set the house on fire. There is an alarm going off in the background.
So me and my daughter was sitting there fighting to get him off of me. And then I finally got him off of me, and I had walked to the kitchen. I gave him a phone, a locket, because that was the only way for me to get him away from me. And then that was my only chance to run out the door. I got to run down the street. He got to chasing after me like, I'm out here making a scene. He ended up putting his gun on me right down the street.
Alright, after he's got a southbound Van Dyke. Continue southbound, he's taking an eastbound shot here. I'll be in the street second. Eastbound Brunel, going through the alley, going back northbound, Good. Alright, northbound Van Dyke. No traffic. Alright, we need some sticks down here. He's keep circling this neighborhood here. Southbound French. Yeah, there's another big turn up here though. Red curve down here, big time, be careful up here. Big curve down here. He doesn't. You just fire shots? I can't. Alright, hold on. Yeah, he's shooting. Dispatch, he's shooting at us. I'm just on risk. Hold up. Back up.
That's fired.
Stop. Hold on. Alright, so. Alright, he's going back northbound. Castle. He's running. He's running westbound. I'll tell you something. Get off fucking ground! Northbound to the yard! Northbound!
So in watching the video presentation, there are a couple of key takeaways worth highlighting. First, it is egregious and flat out false to read in nearly every media report that Rakeem Wright was unarmed. This is quite simply not true. Second, it has been falsely reported that Rakeem Wright never fired his weapon at the Warren police during this incident. This stance is wholeheartedly incorrect. Third, it is inaccurate, inflammatory, and quite frankly harmful to have statements out there that the Warren police shot at Rakeem Wright's car, and worse, shot at Rakeem Wright while his hands were up or as he was giving up, all of which is completely untrue, as you can plainly see from video. I will add that physical evidence at the site of the gunshot wound was observed and is consistent with the close-range, single, self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Fourth, it has been falsely reported that a handgun was not recovered from Rakeem Wright. In fact, a stolen .45 caliber handgun was located in Mr. Wright's hand and recovered, again, as we can all see on video. Fifth, it It is completely false that warrant officers fired 40 to 50 shots during this incident. While this was reported over and over based on an alleged eyewitness, the media was certainly able to observe the scene where there was not any evidence markers consistent with such a large exchange of gunfire. In reality, 2 warrant officers fired a total of 8 shots during this incident, none of which struck Rakeem Wright. What you do see in this video is a fearful victim of an escalating pattern of domestic violence committed at the hands of Rakeem Wright, who had been emboldened after previous arrests for assaultive crimes. You see a suspect with no regard for the lives or safety of his own children, the community, law enforcement, or even himself. You also see the men and women of the Warren Police Department placing themselves in harm's way to prevent Mr. Wright from ending more lives that day, including likely committing the ultimate act of domestic violence, killing the female victim. It's sad and disheartening that so much of the focus has been on the police's conduct toward Mr. Wright, where there's been no mention of the victim and how she is doing, her children, the trauma, the fact that her residence is in shambles. That should be the focus of this incident. With that, we will now answer a brief amount of questions.
Lieutenant, is there any concern on behalf of the victim that there could be any backlash? Are you guys providing an upgraded, I guess, security for her, or has she been moved to another location?
So I don't want to say too much, but we've been in contact with the victim every step of the way. Obviously, she's the victim of domestic violence, which means we have afforded her connections with many social services, as we do with all domestic violence victims. We have taken some precautionary measures, and I would like to note that prior to this, we did reach out to her and inform her of this.
It was noted that the Detroit Police Department is currently a part of the investigation of this. This chase ended in Detroit. Was it at any point, or at least what point did Warren notify the Detroit Police Department of this
Sure.
particular chase in the city?
Our dispatch contacted Detroit dispatch within 30 seconds of police pursuit beginning. This pursuit lasted approximately 6 minutes. So again, they were notified approximately 30 seconds into the police pursuit.
Is there, just out of curiosity, is there any, just because I know a lot of the dispatch, a lot of the things going back and forth, just to clarify, because I've reached out to DPD and they were kind of tight-lipped about this, so we just wanted to tie this up basically to make sure there were no issues with protocol at all.
Yeah.
Was this a difficult decision for you guys to make to release this? I don't know what I've seen police release this sort of video before.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is a very graphic video. You know, Mr. Wright, his family, they're still grieving the loss. I mean, any loss of human life is upsetting, no matter how it occurs. And it was, and we did, again, thought long and hard about this. The reason we had to release this, frankly, is because of the false media reports that stated that the Warren Police acted inappropriate in this manner.
And just for clarification, it was part of the video when officers, once he bailed, the car was running on foot that they fired. At what point was that between when the shots were fired and that Mr. Wright, took his own life?
So obviously we don't want to get too much in the shooting, but what we can see from the video is you had Mr. Wright fire some rounds at our officers from his vehicle, and then as he exits his vehicle on foot and flees, our officers engage in a foot pursuit, and then as, let's just say, officers are arriving to his location is where you see the self-inflicted one. Sure.
Can you tell us if the officers involved are on leave as per protocol for the department, and how much experience do the officers have who are involved?
Yeah, we do have a total of 4 officers on administrative leave. The officers who fired are both military veterans. One has approximately 9 years of police experience. The other has 7 total years, and a couple here at Warren. The other 2 of their partners are also on administrative leave. Their experience is in that range.
Has the family seen the video? See what you showed?
So we thought about reaching out to the family. Obviously, they're still grieving, and the reason we decided not to, I think that the chief reason amongst that is we're not the primary investigative agency in this. That we're going to let that decision be up to the lead agency. That's certainly what we would like if the roles were reversed. And I think the other fact that bears repeating is Warren Police Department did not shoot and kill Rodney Wright. Or, I'm sorry, Mr. Wright, Rakeem Wright. So we did have an officer involved shooting, yes, but Rakeem Wright took his own life.
You guys said Michigan State Police is also investigating a separate investigation?
So it's kind of like a task force response. The Michigan State Police, together with the Detroit Police Department, which is standard protocol. When these incidents do occur in the city of Detroit, they have a combined resources team, I would say. So it's both.
Do you know how many shots that Mr. Wright fired at the police?
We're not going to say on that for obvious reasons.
Can you say if the Warren Police have had any previous contact with Mr. Wright before this incident?
Yeah, we can. Last year, he was arrested for assaulting the same victim, an act of domestic violence. It was approximately 1 year ago.
Were any of your vehicles struck during the gunfire?
They
No,
were not.
They were not. We'll be taking 2 more questions, and then that's it. Okay.
You talked a bit about him being emboldened by these prior arrests and why, you know, he was went on assaulting and what have you, the victim, the female victim. Would you care just to elaborate, go a bit more into that? Because obviously you arrested him last year for assaulting the victim. You put up a bit of his rap sheet. If you want to delve into that a bit more and what you make of it, being that, you know, one could argue perhaps that perhaps he, you know, should have been incarcerated or whatever. So,
You know, it's a bit of irony because approximately 2 months ago we launched our initiative Operation Cycle Break, which was a comprehensive, multifaceted approach for domestic violence response where we focus on offender resources and victim resources, right? And clearly Mr. Wright's previous incident didn't deter him or didn't get him the resources necessary to prevent this incident. I think you see somebody on video here who's armed with a handgun around his children, who decides to set the house on fire, and you hear smoke alarms going off in the back of a 911 call. I think when you look at all of those objective facts and you hear the trauma, the fear in the victim, which we all heard here today, I think it's very clear Mr. Wright didn't factor any of those considerations in. I think when you look at this as a totality, this is absolutely an escalation of behavior. And quite frankly, I think our officers likely were out there preventing a domestic violence homicide from occurring. Last question.
Were you able to determine from where the weapon was stolen or reported stolen?
Yeah, the weapon was reported stolen out of the city of Westland. And again, it was a .45 caliber handgun.
All right, thank you all for coming. We'll email the presentation out in a few minutes.
War keeps us always busy. Charles.